So welcome to this watercolor news. It seems that now the Korean brand Mijello Mission Gold is also going to participate in the granulating or super granulating watercolor world. They have come out with a ton of new colors. Normally, when brands start to go into this area, then they start with like 12 or 24 colors, but not Mijello Mission Gold. They came up with 56 new colors, and that is really a lot. We will take a look at all of them in this video. I have researched their whole website to all the information I could get about the new colors. We will have information about the names. We will have information about the pigments they've used in those colors, the light fastness information as well, and also little pictures of swatches from the colors. I also have included some of their promotion pictures like this. They have a few sets like this one here. This is a set of 34 tubes of the set with each 15 milliliter. They also have some smaller sets. I call it their season set because they have a winter, a summer, a fall and a spring set, which has each 5 colors, also with a 15 milliliter tube. And also you can buy them all open stock. They are already patched into the biggest European art shop, Gerstecker. It's a German one I order a lot from. So they are still, the buttons are still gray. You can't use them at the moment, but they don't include it on their website when they are not arriving in the next short time. So in Germany, for example, we are still waiting for the new colors from Core, which were released in the beginning of 2024. They still haven't hit the German market, but as it seems now that those colors will definitely come a lot sooner. So I guess if they are coming to Germany, then they also will be hitting the rest of the world. As you can see here with the smaller set, you see on the upper part of the picture, you see the boxing. And you see that they don't use their standard dark blue gold combination. We have a darker violet purple color here with the gold, and that is something they have used now for all of the this granulation series. So the packaging is all with the violet, and also if you're looking at the tubes, then you see above the sticker where you see the color and the color name, that the sticker with the brand name is also in this violet gold instead of the blue gold. So you can easily spot if the tube is from the granulation series or if it is one from the regular series of watercolors. So I think that is quite neat, so that you can easily spot the difference there. I think especially with so many colors, it helps a lot to see if this is one of the new granulating colors or not. So I have one information as well included here from their website: the dramatic two-tone colors of Tourmaline gemstones, because they have a lot of pictures where it includes the word tourmaline or tourmaline gemstone granulation colors and something like that. By blending microparticles of tourmaline gemstones into all colors they mean, of course, this new granulation series, it will enhance the value of your artwork with mysterious and unique hues. Tourmaline is composed of elements such as iron, magnesium, alkali metals, and aluminum. As a polar crystal through with electricity flow, it allows us to analyze induce the separation and combination of the chemical properties of the pigments, leading to the creation of two-tone colors. So I think the important information here is that they include microparticles of tourmaline gemstones into all of these granulating colors. But to be honest, if it really makes a difference if we have microparticles of a gemstone in it, or if it is just something which is done to let the colors sound more valuable, I'm not sure. Because microparticles in a color, they would have to be really, really strong to really have a visible influence of a color, especially when you have colors which have high tinting strength pigments in it, which a lot of colors has. For example, we see a lot of PY 150, which is nickel azo yellow, which we all know it is a super strong color, and yeah, it overpowers very easily other colors. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if it is really if it really has a visible influence. So that is something we will have to see if we have some of the colors and can use them, or if we recreate one of the mixes by ourselves and compare the tourmaline infused color to recreation of the color without the tourmaline microparticles. So yeah, this is a wooden box they offer to shops, which looks very very good, to be honest. So let's finally take a look at the colors. We start with Cloud White, which is just a PW6, a titanium white, so it is nothing special. Ideally, every brand offers it. We have a few single pigment colors. I think it is around 4 or so in the whole series. Then we have Sunrise Yellow. PY 154 is benzimidazoline yellow, which is a very light fast pigment, and a PBR 33, which is a zinc iron chromite brown, also a very good in light fastness, and a very beautiful, normally warm granulating brown. I will include a link in the description box below to my video of the Kusakabe single pigment colors, because there we have the pigment swatched, and I so far have only in mind that as a single pigment, the pigment is only sold by Kusakabe and Schminke Horadam. Then we have a color which looks very nice to me, for me personally, is the gold brown yellow, which is a PY 150 nickel azo yellow with the PBR 33 in a mixture. Looks quite nice. Then we have Rudbeckia yellow, which is a PY 65. That's a Hansa yellow, or also aerolite yellow, and it is a light fast pigment mixed also with the PBR 33. Then we have Tangerine Orange, which is a mixture between PO 36, which is a benzimidazoline orange. The pigment is only rated in oil and acrylics as a good in light fastness, but it isn't rated in watercolor, so I'm not quite sure how light fast the pigment is, to be honest. So I have it marked in my mind at I have to search in the internet if I found more information or if anyone has ever done reliable light-fast testing on it. So there we have a mixture also with PBK27, which is a cobalt black. I will include also a link in the description box to my cobalt black video, because Mijello Mission Gold is the only brand offering this pigment. They have the single pigment color for years now in their standard range. It is a very beautiful, cool, granulating black with a very good light fastness. Then we have Aurora Red, which is a PB29 ultramarine blue mixed with a PR 112, which is a naphthol red. And this is a pigment which is not so reliable. We have variations with light fastness, which is excellent, but also with a more mediocre one. So be careful with that, please. Then we have Rose Magenta, which is a mixture of PB28 cobalt blue, PR 122, which is quinacridone pink, and a PV15 ultramarine violet. Then Sunset Violet is PB28 at 29 again, and PR 122. That is probably the most standard mix magenta-like color with an ultramarine. You find that colors in all brands nearly, from Rose of Ultramarine, from Daniel Smith to a lot of other brands. So nothing special. Fantasy Violet is a mixture of PB28, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue PB29, and PR 122, quinacridone pink. It definitely is an eye catcher on this side, just because it is much more vibrant than most of the muted tones here. Then we have Aurora Violet, also the same mixture as the Sunset Violet, but with a higher content of ultramarine blue. Then we have the Shadow Violet, which is a PR 209, that's a quinacridone red, and a PB36. PB36 is also a cobalt pigment, and it can make cerulean blue colors as well as darker turquoise colors. I guess they probably used here more the turquoise version, but of course I'm not quite sure. Could also be the blue version. I never mixed it with a quin red, to be honest. Black Cherry Violet here is quinacridone pink, PR 122 mixed with a PG 26, which is also a cobalt pigment, which makes dark granulating turquoises. A very, very beautiful color. If you have seen my watercolor tube collection, the turquoise one, if I remember, I will also put a link in the description box. There you will see that I have a lot of tubes of this pigment. So yeah, very beautiful color. The pigment, I mean. And yeah, here I must say the color selection is not so much special. We have a lot of granulating blues with pink mixture in variations of the blue or the content of the blue. Yeah, a lot of brands offer colors like that. Then we have Fog Violet, PV15 ultramarine violet mixed with the PBK27, the cobalt blue, cobalt black, sorry. Then the Aurora pink, which is very vibrant and glowy, PB28 cobalt blue, PR 122, again the quinacridone pink. Then we have the Peacock blue, which is a PB15 column 3, which is a phthalo blue green shade, and the PBR 33 again. It reminds me of the Harbor Blue from Gallo, which is also a phthalo blue, I think, with a brown, but I'm not quite sure. I would have to look it up, but it reminds me of that color. Then we have Asia Blue, PB28, PBR33. You see we have a lot of similar pigments, or the pigments, better said, repeat itself a lot within the series. And if you look at the selections, when you are looking now at a lot of the blues, then we have a lot of hues that are not super different, which is normal with that many colors, that we have colors which are not super different, that we have similar shades at least. Then the marine blue, PB29, again PBK27, PBK27, PR122, and the periwinkle blue, which the naming is very confusing, because normally periwinkle blue is like a cool baby blue color. PB15 column 3 again, PR122, and PW6, the titanium white again. So the color should be at least a little bit opaque because of the white. Yeah. Still colors here in this selection which not really are high on my interest list. Of course, that is always just a personal preference and taste thing, but yeah, they are just not different enough for me to catch my personal eye. But I have a very big watercolor selection, so I have already a lot of brands with granulating colors, and there are a lot of similar colors here in this group of 6. So to the next set of 6 colors, we have indigo blue, which is PB60. That's an indanthrene blue, very beautiful, dark, light, fast blue. I love the color a lot. And again, the PBK 27. Then we have aurora blue. That is a little bit more interesting in my opinion. It's a nice shade. We have the PB28 cobalt blue and the PO36 again, the one with the not rated in watercolor pigment. Then the dawn blue is also more interesting, just because we see in those colors a lot more color separation than in a lot of the other colors, and we also have a lot of different, at least 3 different colors we see. We see the colors of the single pigments, and we see the mix. So that's something I have in mind when I think of super granulating watercolors. The dawn blue is a mix of PBR25, which is a benzimidazoline brown. You have seen it probably a lot in my watercolor selection video. This is a very beautiful reddish brown mixed here with a PB36, the cerulean blue pigment again. Then also very interesting for me is the moonlight violet, which is also a mixture of the PO36 and the PB28, like the aurora blue, but here we have a higher content of the orange. And in the aurora blue, we have a higher content of the cobalt blue. Then we have the fog blue, also an interesting color, PB60 again, and a PBR33 again. And the oxide blue, also an interesting color for me. It's PB36 and a PR101, which is a synthetic red iron oxide. Also, just to be aware, if I say those colors are interesting, yes, they are interesting, but all colors in the series are very, very easily mixed yourself. Most of them only contain 2 pigments like those here. So I will definitely include the whole range in my How to Mix series. At the moment we are still at the Schminke colors, but just that you know, none of these colors here shown are not mixable by yourself. So it is always a thing of, do I really need a tube of the color? How much do I actually use it? Or is it easier or cheaper just if when I use the shade like once or twice a year to say, okay, then I mix it by myself. Something just to think about before buying. So then we have the shadow blue, PB36 and PBR 33. Then we have the wave turquoise. That is a color which also is interesting for me. PB28 and PBK27. Then the oxide turquoise. That is one of the colors I have marked for myself with a star, which are my highest interest color. PB28, PR101, and you see from the pigments used, those are very standard pigments. A lot of us will have those in our collection, so it is definitely easily mixed by yourself, but still the color I think is very beautiful and super interesting. As well as the jade green is also marked by myself with a star. It is probably, that is a color which is not so easily mixed by yourself just because it contains 4 pigments. It's a PB29, PY154. We already had seen all of those pigments, PBK27 and PBR33. The more pigments they use in a mixture like that, the more difficult it gets to really know which pigment is in which concentration in the mixture. So those multi-pigment mixes with 4 pigments like that are in most cases a little bit harder to recreate. So then lake green is a mixture of the PG26 again and PBK27. We have seen those, both are cobalt pigments. And then also marked from myself with a star is the forest green, which looks more like a blue, but yeah, it is also a very easy mixture between a PB29 ultramarine blue and a PY150, which is a nickel azo yellow. Those are also colors which probably most of us have in their collection somewhere. Still, it is a very, very beautiful mixture with a very high ultramarine blue concentration here. If you do have a higher concentration on the yellow in the mixture, it will make stunningly beautiful greens. That's a mix I really, really like a lot. So next is the fade green. We have here a PG50, which is a cobalt green, and a PY150, the nickel azo yellow again, also a very interesting color. Then we have the grass green, PB28, PY154 and PY150. So all of those pigments we have seen. If I don't say anything, the rating with the light fastness rating here should be correct with the perfect light fastness, because those are all very light fast pigments. Yeah, just I didn't mention it, I think, so far. Then we have the Aurora green, which is also marked with a star by myself because the color looks very interesting for me. PB28, PY150. Then the ocean green. It's a mix of PB36, PG7, which is a phthalo green blue shade, and a PBK27. Then also interesting, I think, is the pine green, PG36, which is a phthalo green yellow shade, and a PBR33. And then we have the mountain green, which is a PG50 again, and a PBR33. So yeah, a lot of greens in here. And yeah, Like I said, most of the colors probably are super, super easy to mix, but sometimes it is, of course, nice to have the mixture pre-mixed, especially if it is a color which you use a lot. I personally am very mixing lazy. If I can use it pre-mixed, I'm happy, but over the years my collection grew so much that it is really hard to include so many colors in a palette. So I'm back to being more minimalistic, but still, if it is a color which you use a lot, I have talked with so many people, and some have, for example, some of the Schminke super granulating colors, which they use like a standard color. So definitely there are good reasons for having a pre-mixed color ready. Okay, then next set, moss green, PG50, PY150, PO73. PO73, sadly, that's spiral orange. It is marked mostly as a very good in light fastness with every brand I know, but it is definitely a pigment that fades very, very strongly in watercolor. So as beautiful as the color is, that is definitely one where you will have the orange part fading. Same goes, of course, for the green ochre, because it also contains the PO73 as well as a PG50 and a PY150. It is a very beautiful color, but also definitely not a light fast one. Then we have here the Van Dyke green, PG7 again, and a PR101 synthetic red iron oxide. And here is the thing, I think the naming of this color is not good, just because they have a Van Dyke green in their regular watercolor range. I do have the dot card, and that is why I did remember that, because normally we all only have Van Dyke brown. Van Dyke green is not a color which I've seen in other brands. And I have just taken a look at the pigments, because I wanted to know if it is just the same color included now in the range, but it is a different mixture of pigments. Just that you know that it can be confusing, and that you are aware of that they have a Van Dyke green now in the standard range as well as in the granulating series. Then marked with a star for super interesting for me is the Milky Way violet. Looks super interesting, I think. PY15, again, that's an ultramarine violet. PY150, nickel azo yellow, PB28, cobalt blue. Then the matte amber, PBR7, it's natural brown iron oxide mixed with the PY154, again, that's the benzimidazoline yellow. And then we have ochre yellow, contains a PY42, which is synthetic yellow iron oxide mixed with the cobalt black again. Yeah, I think especially the last two ones look very much just like your standard iron oxide colors. At least in this little swatch, they are not so much different to single pigment versions, which would be for me a reason to say they are not very high on my interest list. So next set of 6 we have Sunset Orange mixed with PR122 quinacridone pink and a PY42 again. Then we have Island Orange, which is PB28 and PO73. There is the fading pigment again, just to be aware. Then interesting a little bit, I think, is the Flame Red PR207, which is also a quinacridone red. Yeah, we did had the PR 209 Quin Red already. Both pigments are a Quin Red and they are very, very similar. So yeah, and here it is mixed with a PBK 27 Cobalt Black. Then also interesting in the color, I think, is the Burgundy Red PR 112. That's the Naphthol Red again, which the light fastness from 1 to 3, so a bit careful with that one, and the PG26 again. And then marked by myself again with a star for very interesting is the Bronze Brown, which is a mixture of the PB28 and the PO36, which is again the one which is not rated in watercolor, but still the color I think is very interesting. Then we have Oxide Red Brown, PR 101 and a PBK 27, so synthetic red iron oxide and a PBK 27. To be honest, that looks like a very standard iron oxide color, which yeah, just doesn't look very special, at least on this small swatch. Of course, what you should have in mind is that we only have this very, very small swatches. Sorry, the photos of it. We didn't see a swatching video, so of course it is very hard to really see all the beauty of a color in such small swatches. And sometimes the colors look very different in reality. Yeah, so that is something we will have to wait either way to have the color by ourselves and see it, or see a person really swatching and doing bigger swatches where we can see it, image of the color much better. So then we have another single pigment color, which is the Mahogany Brown, which is interestingly a red pigment, a PR 102, which is the natural red iron oxide. And the color looks a lot like it is a mixture of all the different iron oxide pigments, a yellow, a red, brown, or a black one. It has very, very different colors in it, and therefore as a single pigment color with so much color difference, I think it is a very interesting color. Then we have Coffee Brown, PBR 7 and PBK 27. Yeah, not so special in my opinion. Then we have the Copper Green, which is much more interesting. That's optical, from optical view point, a very interesting color. PG26 again, and a PR 112, the Naphthol Red, where we have to be careful with the light fastness again. Then we have Bark Brown, which is again PB36 and PBR 33, sorry. Which is very, yeah, very much darker grayish color, but it looks very interesting in my opinion. Then we have a very interesting color, in my personal opinion, also marked with a star, is the Mine Brown, because it is first a single pigment color, PBR 29. Secondly, PBR 29 is not a pigment we see a lot. It is more of a rare pigment. Therefore, it is a chrome iron brown. I'm not quite sure, but I think I have it from Roman Schmal, if I'm not totally mistaken, but I'm not sure. So definitely a very rare pigment. Then we have the Granite Stone Warm Gray, which is also an interesting color. I do like those lighter, warmer gray colors, because those are absolutely fantastic for stones and rocks and like, for example, castle walls made of gray stone. It's a mixture of PBK 27, PW6 and a PY 42, so probably has some opacity in it because of the white. But yeah, definitely something I think is interesting. And then we have the last two colors. We have this granite stone cool gray. Of course, if we have a warm version, then we have a cool version, PBK 27 and a PW6. To be honest, not so much interesting for me, just because those lighter cool grays you mostly get very easily if you just water down your cool blacks. And then we have the granite stone black, which is also a single pigment color. It's the PBK 27 we have seen a lot in the series, which is the cobalt black. And here I did want to mention that in their standard watercolor range, they already have a cobalt black. I'm not really sure if there is a difference between those two versions. Of course, it could be that the shade of black is a little bit different, or that the granulation, how much it granulates, is a little bit different, but I don't know. From this little swatch we can't really tell. And yeah, that it would be something if I don't already would own cobalt black and I would say now I am interested in buying one, then I would compare the price, if the price is the same or if maybe the other version is cheaper because it's the standard range and not the granulation series. Just that you know, so that you can look for the best price offer for yourself. So yeah, those are all the colors. I would be very highly interested in which of the colors would you mark with a star as super interesting to you. What do you think about this very big range of new granulating watercolors from Mijello? And yeah, I really hope that the video was interesting for you and helpful as well. And as always, a thumbs up or a follow is very much appreciated because it really helps me and the channel. So thank you everyone for leaving a follow or a thumbs up. And yeah, I really hope you did enjoy the video and have a wonderful day, and hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. Bye bye and take good care of yourself.